What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part, I want to say, 91 of my Total Warhammer 3 modded Kroq-Gar campaign. So as we saw last time, a bit of a variety hour, variety hour as we took out some clan pestilence enemies with the army of Tehenowin, and then again with Tic-Tac-Toe taking flight once more and absolutely wrecking face, as he tends to do. And this episode we're going to continue in such a manner, as we do have two more clan scryer armies for Tic-Tac-Toe to deal with, and then after that I believe we're pretty much done this turn, finally, the turn 121. That's been taking forever, and I'm excited to end the turn and see what exactly is going to happen. It's, yeah, we moved a lot of armies into position, and a lot of interesting things could potentially go. These guys might die depending on these guys attacking us, and especially if there's another full stack here ready to march stance in. But I guess we're gonna have to see. Anyway, let's begin with, well, I guess a battle. Tic-Tac, let's level you up a little bit, buddy, and then we're gonna send you back in. You need, well, not much. Oh, can we finally start building you up to be a fighter? Yes, we can. And let's get you fearless leader, and then I guess we'll get you another points. All that HP is gonna really come in handy. You don't have blade shield. Okay, you do have blade shield here. Yeah. Can't wait for Tic-Tac to be a little bit less fragile, but he's taken a long time to level, sadly. Honestly, we could just reset him afterwards and take out Geomantic Sustenance and Lightning Strike and then make him a fighter. Oh no, we can't. We can't do so anymore. Oh well. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. We did calculate when doing that to see whether by level 50 he'd be able to be maxed out, so he will be, if we ever get him to those heights, as it were. Anyway, you have no Uranon's Thunderbolt, and no... Ooh, I use Comet of Cassandra in this army more than I use Uranon, so let's go for that. And then you, Socorus Mate, you probably don't matter, in the sense that it doesn't matter what we take for you. Let's get you Quan Chi's Blessing to get you a little bit more speed. And if there's more speed that we can gain via the agility of the lizard, we'll probably do that next. It's not like you really participate in any of these battles. Next up, we pick an enemy, and it's going to be the non-Grey Seer enemy. We'll start with the Warlord, work on the Grey Seer after, so away we go. Another lightning strike once again, because once again we do have to actually destroy the enemy armies afterwards, and like after they rout, and if our army is busy killing off others, more enemies will run, and then we'll have to, you know, chase them down. We won't be able to chase them down. It'll be a whole thing. So here we go. Well, folks, I hope you haven't had enough Tic-Tac and scryer slaying, because we got plenty more. Where that came from. Tic-Tac's army arrives once again with a thunderstorm slash rainfall falling from the sky, which does feel appropriate due to the mastery of the lore of the heavens that this particular army relies upon, and the thunder or the lightning presaging the arrival of the Coatl as well. It all just feels right. Plus, I'm sure the rats aren't too happy about it. I wonder if all the static makes all their fur stand on end. Gotta make him at least a little bit nervous. Anyway, here we go. The enemy will once again be surrounded from every side by our Ripperdactyls, just hovering in the sky, waiting for a unit to break away from the enemy formation while the damage is done by our Fire Leech Bolas. Obviously, our Javelin users are targeting the enemy single entities like the Rat Ogres and the Mutant Rat Ogres and whatnot, while the Bolas target everything else. Our Coatl Assassins, as usual, go after the enemy lord, and in fact the enemy lord, brood horror or not, looks can't stay on that brood horror, is gonna be killed off very quickly, and then we can go after the other brood horror as well. Now, he certainly does move quickly. Those brood horrors are quick, but are they quicker than a Coatl with 195 speed? I don't think so. Damn, those Coatl move fast. When they have these buffs from Tic-Tac, it is such a freaking scary unit. If we really wanted to be obnoxious and just use a Doom stack, we could replace all the Ripperdactyls with nothing but Coatl, and yeah, that would be truly obnoxious. But like doing a stack with nothing but dragons or something like that, I generally avoid it, just to try to keep the... and just to keep unit variety and to keep battles reasonably fun and give the enemy a at least something of a chance. Yeah, of course you can use a giant pile of whatever Doomstack unit, but where would the fun be in that? Other than perhaps as a gimmick. And only for a few battles. Anyway, the Ripperdactyl's doing a good job chasing. The enemy army is in pretty dire straits already, with the bounce power hovering at about 75%. Storm vermin and other rats dropping like flies, or perhaps like rats when they've entered Lustria. Tic-Tac-Toe is fighting in the middle of this enemy of formation of rat ogres and mutant rat ogres, and the brute horde there as well. So we're going to move in our Coatl to help him out, as obviously he's once again a fragile little guy. And speaking of replacing all the Ripperdactyls with Coatl, it's not like this army really needs it, you know what I mean? I don't think we've had a lot of battles where this army has really struggled, except when we just had the army right at the start, where there were a few instances where the various flyers ran out of ammunition and had to enter melee. But afterwards, it has really not been a problem. It's been many an episode since our flyers, and Tic-Tac's army at least, have run out of ammunition. In fact, I don't think they have run out of ammunition since the beginning, so yeah. There's also, of course, the fact that that usually tends to happen more when you're fighting multiple stacks at once, and he can just fight a single stack at a time and kill them all off. Speaking of killing them all off, the bounce of power shifts fully into our favor. The last of the... oh wow, that Hell Pit Abomination looks like it got brought down by the lightning effect. I don't know whether that was the Spirit of Tepok or whether that was a chain lightning, but it did look like it got electrocuted to death at the same time as it got burned by the Fire Leech bolas smashing into it. That was a pretty cool shot. And generally speaking, the Coatl are also really fun to watch with all of their fancy effect and that lightning beam thing that they do. And also, their animations really remind me of Tomb Scorpions, so they're really hard to hold down because they just go through your formation and they don't care. So it seems pretty unlikely that they get caught, although these two did actually take a decent amount of damage, and so did Tic-Tac, by directly fighting all those rat ogres and mutant rat ogres and whatnot. Obviously, we didn't really have to do that at all. Like, at the end of the day, we could keep Tic-Tac and the Coatl and the Ripperdactyls in the air until all of our other air units run out of ammunition without getting them hurt at all. But once again, it's in order to see the animations. Anyway, the last of the enemy Plague Monks, the last of the units that were still on the field and fighting, have been brought down. And now it's just a matter of chasing off whatever other units remain. Should be quick, and a little bit quicker as we speed up through the rest of that. Yeah, it looks like all of our flyers are at about half ammunition. And most of them, well, actually some a little under, some a little over. And there we go. Those poor rats, they don't know where to run. And another heroic victory for Tic-Tac, but honestly a lot of our lords have picked up a lot of heroic victories throughout the campaign, so it's hardly surprising. Alright, not bad once again, and at least Tic-Tac's getting plenty of XP for his trouble all this time. The big boys are starting to take a little bit of damage, however. They're all down to half HP, together with Tehanuan minus one of the Coatl. We may actually have to commit our Ripperdactyls in the next fight, depending on what exactly their mage ends up doing. We'll have to see. I believe he is a mage of plague, though not ruins, so we should hopefully be okay, but we'll see. We'll see. Honestly, I feel like this army would be even stronger if we replaced the skink chief with a skink oracle, because it would allow us to heal the Xhotl and Tic-Tac with life blooms. Maybe that would be the way to go. The only problem is the oracle wouldn't be able to hide, unless I'm mistaken. Do the oracles have access to stock? Guess we'll see in a bit. Ritual purifications for purification, rather, for you. You are going to move away, and are you going to move? Why do you all have to run in different directions? Oh, that's irritating. Got a Sword of Swift Slaying, which frankly we don't really care about. Tic-Tac is running out of movement range as well. I fear that if we go for you, Feskett the Plague Ridden, we won't be able to go after Mormel. And it's better not to risk it. I was actually hoping that Mormel would back off towards Lizardlight, and thus we'd just be able to kill him off that way, but it looks like that's not happening. Alrighty, well, we're gonna jump into the next battle in a second. I just want to check a Skink Oracle. I'm curious if they have access to if they have access to stock. They do! They do have access to stock via natural camouflage. Alrighty, well, we can power up Tic-Tac's army even more. If we get a Skyrider, then we'll get him an Oracle instead. In fact, I should have probably done that from the start. I think the reason we put the Skink Chief in here was he's also a Skyrider. Yeah, so he does buff up all of those, units. In fact, I'm just wondering whether we should take out a Ripperdactyl. Well, either way, not important right now. Let's level up Mr. Tic-Tac, get him another point in Fearless Leader, get a little bit of those HP points back that he's been sacrificing. You're level 30 now, so you can have Mentor, and then you can have, it does not really matter, but we are going to continue going through speed, so agility of the lizard. Alrighty, battle number 2. Tic-Tac take out Mormel now. They've got a caster this time, so we have a priority target. And the range for this battle, however, is a lot less than it was in most other battles, so we actually should have an easier time against the enemy range units, so not so bad. Here we go. Alrighty, here we go, and just because this battle, unlike the other battles, will be the last major fight against Scryer, we're going to give them a little bit more of a fighting chance than we usually do. Now, normally we deploy this army to their back and to their sides, and only Tic-Tac and the Xhotl forward, as they're not really threatened by the enemy rangefire. This time, we're going to move directly in front of the enemy army and allow them to hit our units in the air while we approach, just to see how much damage they can do and whether this can actually change the battle, because obviously at this point we just screw around as much as we want. It looks like the enemy have managed to drop one of the Ripperdactyls with those Warp Lightning cannons. Here's another one getting knocked out of the sky. We've also got rattling guns and Jezzails and Poison Wind mortars firing at them and certainly dishing out some damage. The Colossadon Hunters in particular have lost some of their HP, and they will not be landing, however, because they'll just get surrounded and ripped apart by the enemy Rat Ogres. That said, that was about all the damage the enemy range units can do, and now they're going to have to deal with our other flyers, which, let's face it, they're not going to be able to deal with. They had their chance, but it's as much a chance as we're gonna give them. Anyway, now time to hover around, focus on the enemy threats first up, as in the rattling guns and Jezzails and whatnot, and then we can worry about the Storm Vermin and the Rat Ogres afterwards, as they can't touch us up here. There we go. Ooh, those giant piles of rats moving around, only for us to drop bombs and bolas on them. Fight, fight. Yeah, I mean, you can scream fight all you want, but you can't jump high enough to actually reach any of these units. Maybe if you had the Hell Pit Abomination, pick up Plague Monks and try to chuck them at the Pterodon Riders. Pterodon riders do seem fairly agile, especially judging by that one little cinematic on the Pterodon riders dodging all that stuff. So they might be able to dodge them. On the other hand, it could also be effective, and I wouldn't put it past the rats to do that sort of thing. Kind of like the Goblin Doom Divers. Anyway, how are we doing? Still focusing down the enemies, though now we have switched our Javelineers to going after first that Brood Horror, then Abominations and Rat Ogres. Afterwards, we're also trying our best to chase off enemies a little bit, and that doesn't just include the Ripperdactyls, who are waiting to drop down, but also our Pterodon Riders. And the reason I decided to do that was to allow the Javelin Chuckers to do a little bit more damage, as in they do take time to bring down these single entity elites. And if we have the Fire Leech Bolas just break the rest of the army by killing... oh wow, the Brute Horrors just explode? Huh, that's kind of interesting. Rather than... It's kind of interesting that the Brood Horror explodes, whereas the Hellpit Abomination doesn't... It does leave a corpse. Anyway, as I was saying, if we leave our Fire Leech Bolas to just destroy the rest of the enemy army, the single entities will break, and the Fire Leech Bolas will just be doing all the work, as the Brood Horrors and the Rat Ogres will just run off the field before the Javelineers can do all the work. But now they've killed the Brood Horrors, they're working on the Hellpits and the Rat Ogres now. And now we can bring the Fire Leech Bolas back. Plus, they took that time to kill off the enemy, runners. Also, looks like the enemy Lord is done for, as well as the Javelins have done their work. The majority, I should say, of the enemy infantry are also in very bad shape. And once again, this army just wrecking face. Though sadly, it looks like we won't be seeing much more of it. This will be pretty much probably the last fight for Tic-Tac-Toe in the campaign, unless I'm mistaken. And depending on if the game forces us to refight any of the battles by virtue of the auto-resolve screwing us over. Anyway, Hellpit Abomination is the next target of, well, not just the Javelins, but the Bolas as well, even if it wasn't all that necessary. Down goes the Hellpit, and still a few Rat Ogres milling around, a few infantry units, but there is nothing the poor things can do. We can even send our Skink Chief in to participate a little bit if he wants to. He hasn't had a lot of time to play throughout this campaign. Let's agree out on that. Alrighty, like shooting fish in a barrel, or like, I don't know, javelining rats in a field? And hey, we finally dropped a few of those melee units in Coatl working together with Ripperdactyls and Feral Cold Ones as well. The Feral Cold Ones there just to absorb some of the hits. That said, there are Plague Monk Sensor Bearers here, and they are still very much a threat to any of these units, so we will have to be careful. But just wanted to get at least a little bit of action for the Ripperdactyls, since they haven't had to actually fight a lot throughout this campaign. Or at the very least, not any enemy that can hit back, and I'm mostly just chasing things around. There we go. Once again, just for fun, not because it was necessary. Looks like the rats have called for help, as some Rat Ogres have arrived to go after the enemy. The Rat Ogres have arrived to help the Plague Monks. We're going to have the Coatl deal with the Ogres, however, as the Ripperdactyls would probably just get obliterated by them in combination with the Plague Monks. Let's see how the Ripperdactyls are doing. They're down to about half HP, so they've certainly taken damage. And probably will take at least a few more hits as the Plague Monks fight to the end here. Obviously, while this is happening, over in the background we have our Fire Leech Bolas and our Javelins continuing to work on all the other units, but at the same time, we've seen that many a time throughout the campaign. Let the Ripperdactyls have some fun too. Alright, one goes down there. Plus, they're a cool unit. They're just too fragile for what they're supposed to do. Alrighty, and ooh, I like them all like sort of hovering around that orb from one of the lightning, the chain lightning / ball lightning from one of the Coatl, kind of like I don't know. Like it was summoning them, or they were like moths drawn to a flame sort of thing. Just they were just hovering around it. And it was a cool shot, is what I'm getting at. Anyway, it looks like the last of the Plague Monks are getting ripped apart there by the, well, Ripper and Dactyls. Kind of makes sense. Several of them have now taken damage, and by them I mean the Ripper Dactyl units, but it was worth it. Alright, just a few more, and it looks like a few of the Storm Vermin are still in there, but the battle won't end until the last Plague Monk goes down. There's a Sensor Bearer down there. Okay, there was a Sensor Bearer. There's another one. The one I was talking about exploded just as soon as I mentioned it. And that one got shot by one of the Coatl, and I believe with that, the battle is ours. Fantastic. Alright, by virtue of actually having our melee units fight the enemies that were remaining, it took a little bit more effort and was a little bit longer of a battle than the other battles were, I think, twice or even 3 times as long. Usually Tic-Tac-Toe ends these fights in like 2 or 3 minutes when just his range units fight, which is kind of interesting, but hey, they were busy chasing enemies down, and it certainly still worked and allowed our Ripperdactyls some screen time. Alrighty, there we go, another one bites the dust, and with that, the third army has been decimated, and Clan SKRYRE is pretty unlikely to recover. I've generally been a little bit disappointed with the Ripperdactyl riders. Otherwise, this army really just makes me feel bad for the AI. Most AI armies can do absolutely nothing, even though we don't really have the ability to commit our Ripperdactyl riders most of the time. I mean, one of them lost like 75% of its HP in this particular battle, fighting like 25% of the remaining units of Plague Monk Sensor Bears, and that was with Tic-Tac and the Coatl and other units all helping, and those units debuffed by our Skink Priest, and they still managed to lose so many. I don't really see their point, as in the Ripperdactyl's point. They're not very good at chasing. They're honestly not very good in terms of anti-large. I guess you're just supposed to use them when you can't afford a Coatl, because the various Pterodon riders are much stronger in terms of their damage output, and if you want to kill off an enemy single entity, the Coatl are tankier, they have magical attacks, they have abilities, and I don't know, they just seem to be better in every single way. I don't really get the point, but what do I know? Anyway, they're in this army for fun, not because I think that they're necessary for any particular thing. But we should be able to auto-resolve, charge lock the Fabricator, and Garth, hopefully at the very least. Auto-resolve them, hopefully the Ripperdactyls won't die, and looks like one of our Coatl got damaged. Let's kill and eat just so that they heal up a little bit, and then kill off the rest of this. Alright, good. And a little bit of damage, but nothing crazy, and we don't have to do anything else, so I think we'll take additional money. Alrighty. Hey, a Banner of Eternal Flame. Nice pickup. We're gonna pop you into March Stance so that you can get a little bit closer. Oh! Huh. We actually heal a lot more in Miragliano than we do in Lizard. Oh, yeah, that actually makes sense because, yeah, well, whatever. Whatever, I guess we're gonna have to chase you down. I hope we won't have to go too far. We no longer need the Alignment of War here either. And just like that, Scryer and Pestilence and Moors are down to one army. So we are down to about half of the enemies, or of the enemy clans. I believe Molder and pretty sure, I'm not 100% on it, but I'm pretty sure that Clan Fester should have revived as well. Now, I don't super care about them. The ones that we really care about in terms of ending the campaign are A, the Clan Rictus, and B, Cathay, so Deathmaster Snitch, because he still had a fairly decent-sized faction and a bunch of territories, as well as his stack and another stack, and the remnants of this stack stack, plus the 3 stacks that he will have spawned. So he's got a lot of stuff in there. He's still powerful, and I think Deathmaster Snitch will be the one that we're using for the endgame scenario. Mostly because traveling all the way up here to kill off 3 armies seems like a waste of time to me, frankly, because we can already see that they stand no chance, and Cathay will determine where the campaign ends. Anyway, before we end the turn, not the campaign, we gotta pick ourselves a new piece of research. Now, the old one's favor, we are still nowhere near Sequence of the Ether, and we're at a 13% research rate, and this is still not down to 1 turn. It's frankly ridiculous how long it took us to get here. So the game is balanced around us getting to like turn 200 or something like that, or 250. That's a little bit silly. There's no way that we wouldn't have world conquest long before then. And on top of that, I think we only have 2 territories in our entire faction that have actually grown to tier 5, and neither one have the Dreadsorian building, so we currently only have the ability to build, well, we only have the 1 Dreadsorian, as in the Shredder of Lustria, because we can't build anymore because we don't have the capacity. Ugh, tier 5 is just taking too long to grow towards. I feel like it needs a little bit of rebalancing so that the end game comes a little bit sooner so you can have access to all those cool units, and maybe the tech should go up there a little bit faster as well, so that you could play around with the crazier stuff. Anyway, in terms of what we're picking here, it probably doesn't matter that much. We could go for the sequence of geological prospecting just to get the next level of Old One's favor, but honestly, I'm not sure that we really care about it at the current time. The construction time reduction and global recruitment duration isn't so bad out of this. That's a lot of stuff we have to go through for this. We are also using a lot of dinos, so maybe now we can start buffing them up. Sequence of Primordial Battle, for example. And maybe we'll go for dinos next. I don't really care about the upkeep anymore because we're past that point, but... wait. You know what, let's get Sequence of Skirmishing first. Missile Strength plus 15, this is a pretty darn strong upgrade for 2 points for all of those units. And more melee defense for Skinks. And maybe this one is the way to go. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, with that, we are ready to end the turn, so I'm gonna skip outpost upgrade available. Don't care, we need the money for potentially burning down a million Skaven settlements, as in undercities. Let's end the turn and see what happens with all of this. I fear that Thorek is dead, but at the very least, Pyroxy is approaching. Somehow I doubt that Pyroxy is going to be able to deal with all 3 of these armies at once, so we'll need to try to catch 1 or 2 out where we can destroy them without. Anyway, end the turn. We probably won't have enough time to fight another battle per se, but at least I would like to see what will happen. And what the heck is this? Kairos Fate Weaver. Oh, you're alive. Well, isn't that fascinating? Okay, well that means, unfortunately, we will have to end the episode here, because this is something we should fight. We're at half HP, and this is Kairos himself, after all. This may actually, in fact, be the last time we ever see Kairos, as he may not be able to come back after this. Because he has, I think, 4 territories remaining. He's certainly starting to lose them. So I'm going to call it here instead. We will begin the next episode with a non-Skaven battle, shocking as that may be, and then we'll proceed to taking out the rest of the clans that are damaged and starting to move towards Clan Rictus and Clan... a moment. I can't remember Deathmaster Snitch's clan's name, even though I've said it like 50,000 times in this campaign. This is gonna bother me now. I know somebody's screaming at the screen right now. Oh man, wow. Okay, I guess it's late and I can't think today, and my brain is done. Okay. Eshin, Clan Eshin, there we go. That was gonna bother me for ages. I kept thinking Gutter Runners, Night Runners, what Death Runners, what's the name of the damn clan? Anyway, stay tuned for more Kroq-Gar, rather. I really shouldn't play so late. All glory to the algorithm, likes, comments, etc. And thanks for watching.